Every time you want to check to see if there's any email out there that somebody sent to you that's sitting on the server, as you know by now, well, hopefully you do, you come up here on the Home tab and go to the Send and Receive group and click on Send Receive. So it quickly checks the server to see if there's anything out there to receive it into the inbox. And also if you have anything sent in the outbox to shoot it out. You can also do it up here above the File tab. There it is, Send and Receive. But instead of clicking on that like every 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you can schedule an automatic send and receive by coming backstage, clicking on the File tab, going down to Options, and then clicking on the Advanced, and then scrolling down to Send Receive. Click on that. There you go. Schedule an automatic send and receive every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes it's going to check the server and see if there's anything to receive, as well as anything that's sitting in my outbox. It'll send it off automatically. 5 minutes, you can go down to 1 minute. It's your flavor, and then when you're done, you can go ahead and close out, and it'll automatically save it for you. There are 3 different types of formats in which an email can be read. You can see I got a new email message, and I'm in the body of the message. Come up here, click on the Format Text tab to the Format group, and it's these 3. You can see that HTML is highlighted by default. When you hover over it, you can see in the pop-up it says Format this message as Hypertext Markup Language. HTML messages can contain formatting and are compatible with most email readers. So formatting means that if you just type in some text, you can go ahead and I'm going to hold down the Shift key, hit the Home key, and it selects everything from the end where the cursor is flashing to the beginning of that line. Those are some of the fancy tips, tricks, and shortcuts that I go over in my Microsoft Word training videos. In any case, with it highlighted, you can go ahead and right-click on it, bring up the mini formatting toolbar, apply some formatting like bold, maybe make the color red, italics, or you can do it up here on the Format tab in the Font group, or on the Message tab, the Basic Text group. You got formatting here as well, but let's go back to the Format Text tab. And in addition to formatting the text, give it some color, give it some life. Let's go ahead and hit Enter several times, and then click above it. You can also come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the Illustrations group, and you can insert smart art, charts, shapes, online pictures. Let's do that, online. And let's do a Bing search. And let's type in spring, Bing for spring, hit Enter. Oh, these 2 love birds. Let's go ahead and check those 2 and click on Insert. And there you go. So you can do all that, again, going back to the Format Text tab, as an HTML message. The other one is rich text, and you can see in the pop-up it says rich text messages can contain formatting, including pictures, but are only compatible with Microsoft Outlook and Exchange. So if you have somebody that's not using HTML, but they have Outlook and or connected to Exchange, well, you can go ahead and send them basically the same thing down below and get the same formatting options up above on the Format Text tab, as opposed to plain text. So that's so plain. You can see that plain text can be read by everyone but contains no formatting. You want to see? Alrighty, go ahead and click on it, and it says, excuse me, we got pictures and formatting. We're going to have to destroy it all. So the text is typed in some text, but it's formatted, so when I click Continue, pictures will be lost. Click Continue, and the formatting gets stripped from the text. Maybe one of the reasons why you want to use plain text is that some firewalls don't consider it as dangerous. Like with images, you can add hyperlinks to, or it seems kind of spammy. So with plain text, if you want to get through to somebody, well, there you go. If you start adding hyperlinks to the plain text, well, then it kind of gets a little bit spammy, but not so much as it would be for HTML or rich text. So by default, every time you create a new email message, it's going to be HTML. If you're like, no, I want it to be plain text or rich text, let's go ahead and close out of here. Or you can stay in here actually and just come up here, click on the File tab. Okay, it minimized. Let me go back and bring it back up. Click on it to restore it. There we go, we're backstage. So I clicked on the File tab, it took me backstage in the message, then I can go down to Options, and it takes me right to the Mail tab because I'm in the email message, as you can see behind me. And on the Mail tab, you can see right here, compose messages in this format, HTML, or, you don't have to be in here, you can just go ahead and close out and just be in the Mail folder view in Outlook and come up here, click on the File tab, go down to Options, and because we're not in a message, it doesn't take us to the Mail tab, it's a general tab. So go ahead and select Mail, and then there you go, compose messages in this format, HTML. If you want to be plain, already, go ahead and select it, click OK. So when I double click in a blank area, I don't get any of the formatting options because plain text does not accept it. And you can see, well, let me come down below. When I click in the body of the message, you can see I don't get any of the formatting options because plain text does not accept it. You can come up here, click on the Format Text tab, and there you go, plain text. I mean, you can always convert it on the fly. Sounds pretty cool when I say that word, fly. And then you can see down below that you can go ahead and type in text, because when you do, you get the commands that are available. You can click on B for bold, I for italics, and formatting commands like that. The automatic replies, also known as the out of office feature, is used to send automatic replies to notify others that you are either out of the office, on vacation, or not available to respond to email messages. And this feature is only available if you're connected to a Microsoft Exchange server, which I am, as you can see down below in the status bar, cha-ching, Exchange. So to go ahead and set this up, come up here, click on the File tab, go Backstage, Info selected by default, and there she is, right there, automatic replies out of office. Go ahead and click on it. And you can see up here by default it's not going to send any replies because, well, we haven't set it up and we're not on vacation, which we'll do in just a second. So we can select to send automatic replies. And if I'm on vacation and it's indefinite and I don't have a set date or time that I'm coming back, if you're unfortunate that you do, well, you can go ahead and say, okay, only send during this time range. So you could say, well, let's say vacation is spring break. Oh, party on. Let's go ahead and do it. April the 2nd, and we're not going to be leaving at 6 p.m. We're not going to be here at work. We've got an 8 to 5, so I'll start at 8 to start sending it. And then the end time will be that Friday, and we close at 5 p.m., so 8 to 5. Monday through Friday, I will not be here, or go ahead and send the automatic reply. What reply? You can see down below it says automatic reply once for each sender with the following messages. You have your inside organization, which is when you're connected to the Exchange server, your global address list, and then you have those outside of your organization. First of all, those who are inside, let's go ahead and type something like, hey, I'm on vacay. Let's go ahead and select it, and we can do this. We can make it huge, make it bold, and then select vacay. We're just placing emphasis where it needs to be so they don't miss anything because I don't want to be bothered. In any case, there we go for the inside organization. And then for the outside organization, well, you get a couple of choices. It's checked here to automatically reply to people outside. That can be for either those who are in your contacts folder here in Outlook, or you can include those in your contacts folder and anybody outside of the organization. In other words, those that aren't in your contacts folder. And what do we want to type in for them? You can keep it the same or maybe something different. I'm not in, but totally out. We can change the font type, because that is a bit abrupt. Let's do something soft like Monotype Cursive. Well, we got to make it larger because that's just too teeny tiny. Doesn't that just make you feel a little bit more relaxed? It's not sharp fonts when I say I'm totally out. Hopefully they don't get upset at me because I'm using a fancy font, and they'll excuse me. And there's the happy face to kind of smooth things over. Now you can go ahead and click OK, and that's what happens when anybody inside your organization emails you on this tab, as opposed to those outside. And if you have anything that you want to keep an eye on, a specific email that comes in, like with something in the subject, meets a certain condition that you want to take care of or forward it on to somebody else when you're not here, well, you have rules down below. Go ahead and click on rules, and then add a rule. Up at the top is the condition area, and then down below the actions. So set the conditions. When it meets that condition or conditions, you can alert, you can delete, move to, copy, forward, reply with the template, and then do something custom if you have it set up. So if it's from maybe somebody in your organization, click on From. Global address list, like Carrie, double click. You can double click and add a bunch of others if you want, and then click OK, and there you go. Now remember, if you're typing in email addresses, that be sure you use let's go to the end, semicolon as the delimiter, and then go ahead and keep typing other email addresses. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Send to, well, you got the options. If it's sent directly to you, you can have it do something, or if you're carbon copied, meaning like, gosh, these conversations that go back and forth and you keep CCing me while I'm on vacation, that's just going to junk up my inbox. I want to move that to another folder and not deal with that, at least not for the first week that I'm back. In any case, you can go ahead and choose, and then your subject. How about, hey, how about free money? Oh, I want to be alerted on that, or have some special action performed or something in the body of the message, and then down below, based upon what you set up here for your conditions, you can perform these actions like alert with what action? Well, you can go ahead and notify with the text and then play a sound, bong or bing. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel. Don't need the notifications here, at least for free money, except to maybe delete it because it's spam. So it just automatically deletes it, sends it to the delete folder. Let me uncheck that. You can move it to another folder to take care of later, copy it to another folder, or even forward it on to somebody, because maybe they can hurry and respond to this to get that free money. So send it off to somebody, and then the method that you send it to them could be standard, as when you hit the forward button, back in the mail folder when you're forwarding on a message, or you can leave the message intact or insert the message as an attachment. So that's not included in the body of the message when this gets forwarded on as the action. Let's go ahead and uncheck that. You can reply with the template, click on the button, opens up a new email message, type in whatever you want, save it, and that's the template that it's going to reply with. And like I said, something custom. If you or your IT person has something custom set up, you can click on the drop-down arrow to choose, and I don't. And then you do have the advanced options here. So if the condition is at least so many kilobytes, at most this many, or if it's received from this date to this date, if its importance is high, sensitivity, in any case, you can go ahead and take action and maybe forward it on to your special email address that only you will look at while you're on vacation and take care of it pronto. In which case, I'm going to go ahead and click cancel because I'm not going to place that on there. You can click OK and add as many rules as you want. Okay, well, let me go ahead and uncheck this, and let's just say it's indefinite. I'm on vacation because this is only going to send during this time range, so it's only going to be active during that time, obviously. And so if it's indefinite, well, send automatic replies the moment I click OK. There you go. It's turned on. How do you know? Because, well, it's highlighted here, and it says automatic replies are now being sent. So if anybody sends me an email, it's going to shoot out to them. And I can turn it off. Not only will you get this message here, but when, let me click on the back here. There you go. Front stage. Up here it's warning you. You can turn it off. If you're back and you want to be able to reply, not have it done automatically for you, you can also see it down below, automatic replies. You can click on it, and it brings it up if you want to make some changes. And if you go to another folder, not just the mail folder, but contacts, it's going to stay up because it's a flag. Because you may get some message that you wish didn't automatically send out a reply, or at least have to backtrack and tell the person, hey, wait a second, I'm in the office, don't go. So that way you get it no matter where you go in Outlook here. And you can go ahead and turn it off here. And when you do, there, you don't get it down below in the status bar. And when you go backstage file to automatic replies, it's no longer highlighted. And of course, you can click on that to turn it off here and say don't send. Then down below, hey, if you want to go back out again on vacay, it remembers what you typed in previously. So cool. Let's go ahead and click cancel. Click back and go to the mail folder. And in the inbox, I'm going to go ahead and have Carrie set up her automatic replies so we can see what it looks like on our end. And she's got it set up. So I'll go ahead and double click in a blank area to go to create an email message. And then type in Carrie. There we go. Hit the tab key. We get our mail tips, as it says up above. Automatic reply, I'm on holiday, back when I feel rested. Well, that's jolly good. So at this point, I can go ahead and just remove the recipient and then email somebody else if it's urgent and somebody else in the organization can handle it. Or if it's like, okay, fine, I'm going to load you up with work when you get back. Or something nice, because who wants to come back to a bunch of grumpy coworkers? I hope you're resting fabulously. Really? Great. And then you can go ahead and send it. And once I send it off, I got the warning in the mail tips, but almost instantaneously it'll kick back a message that says what we just saw up in the mail tips. I'm on holiday. In which case, if she typed in paragraphs of text, you can double click to open it up and read everything down below. And then as soon as she gets back, hopefully she remembers to turn off that she's out of the office. And there you go. There's the icon with the door, and she's out of here. Well, that's what it means to me. If you have the same group of people you'll be frequently sending email messages to, like when you click on the to button, you're like, okay, it's Barney Fife. Well, let's double click on Harry Potter, double click on Carrie, Mr. Humphries, scroll through, find other people, and you're spending all this time, and you click OK, and you're like, oh, whew, that's the first email message. I'll be sending one off to the same group later tonight, and then tomorrow Instead, you can create what's called a contact group. That way, it's a one-time setup. You can add all the people that you frequently send these email messages to, like my homies, as it were, that you can just go ahead and type in the name of that group, and it includes everybody who you added to that group. Doesn't that sound a lot more efficient? Of course it does. Well, at least for me. Let's go ahead and close out of here and create this contact group. To do that, come up here on the Home tab, go to the New Group, click on the New Items drop-down arrow, go down to More Items, and it's right there, Contact Group. Go ahead and click on it. There we go. So what's the name of your group? Is it Emergency Contacts, where it includes everybody? Or are they your homies, like people whom I hang out with? That, hey, we got a new amusement park downtown, let's go ahead and check it out. In any case, once you have the name for your group, come up here in the Members group to add your members. Click on the drop-down arrow and you can add them one of three ways. You can either add them from your Outlook contacts or from the address book, like the global address list, if you're connected to an Exchange server. Or if they're not in your contacts or in the address book, you can go ahead and create them from scratch. Let's do the Outlook contacts. And Barney 5, and then let's go ahead and do Carrie, double click OK. They're added. Click on the drop down arrow from the address book, click on it, and then you can, of course, click on the drop down arrow. I'm not connected to the Exchange server, no global address list. Let's go ahead and close out here. Click on the drop down arrow, and how about we create one from scratch? Now you get the option down below, it's by default, where when you type in a name and their email address, it's going to add it to the contacts automatically. So if I do Manny Mammoth, and we'll have it, and then once I click OK, it adds it to my contacts. So click OK, and I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. I don't actually want Manny in there. Go ahead and select him. You can come up here to the Members group, click on Remove, and he's gone. But because I add him to my contacts, when I click on Add Members, I can go down to, well, my Outlook contacts and then find Manny right there, double click and bring him back in. You should never leave the homies group. And then when I'm done, come up here, click Save and Close, and that's it. Now, when I go ahead and double click in a blank area to create a new email message, instead of typing in all those names, I can just go ahead and type in the name of the group, H-O, there you go, homies, hit the tab key, and it pulls in everybody who belongs to that group. Now, of course, let me go ahead and delete that. You can click on the To button, and there's the group with the two dudes, because in the contact group, you can have two or more people there. Well, you can have one, but what's the point? In any case, you can go ahead and double click to add it down below in the To field, or select the carbon copy, and then with it highlighted, click on carbon copy, but let's do the To field, and then click OK. And then you get this little plus sign that if you want to exclude somebody from this group, from this message you're sending out, where maybe it doesn't apply to everybody in the group, just almost everybody except for maybe one person, click on it. It warns you that it's going to expand it. And once it expands, it can't be collapsed again. Okay, so there we go. We can say, well, okay, Manny, we really shouldn't include him in this one. And I'm able to remove whom I please, but still keep him as part of the group for future emails. And then that's it. Go ahead and click Send, and away it goes. To insert a hyperlink, like a website address, as in this example, please have all new clients learn more about us at, well, let's have them go to my website, which is www.dreamforce.us. As you recall in an earlier training video, whenever you hit the space bar, the autocorrect feature kicks in and takes a look at what you just typed in, well, the word, or in this case, the URL. And if it finds in its database a match with the word that you typed in, like a misspelled word, then it will replace it with its correct spelling. And in this case, the URL, it'll convert this into a hyperlink because it sees the prefix as www dot, and it ends with the suffix like .us, .com, .org. Hit the space bar and there you go. You get the underline, changes the color, and when you hover over it, you can see in the pop-up that if you want to go to this website, for me, I have to hold down the control key. For Carrie, when she gets the email message, she won't have to. And the reason why I have to hold down the control key is because I'm in edit mode. So hold down the control key, you get the finger, go ahead and click on it, and there you go. Hey, my website. Go ahead and purchase some videos, support the cause. Cool. Let's go ahead and close out. And then if you want to remove the hyperlink, go ahead and right click on it and go down where you get the options to edit it, open it, copy it, remove it. And then if you want to convert this again into a hyperlink, or any text or image for that matter that's in the body of the message, after you select it, go ahead and right click on it and go down to link. And then down below in the address field, go ahead and type in the complete URL for that website that you want the person to go to when they click on it, like if it's Disneyland.com or in this case Dreamforce.us. But keep in mind that if that URL is super long, you may not want to type it in. Instead, go ahead and copy it, then come down below and paste over what's there. And then instead of that being reflected up here as the text to display, because by default it's going to display what's down below in the address field, you can instead not have them being overwhelmed by 3 or 4 lines of a hyperlink. Go ahead and just type in something simple for them like, hey, this is my store. So that way when you click OK, it says store, but it's a hyperlink that when you hover over it, you can see in the pop-up, well, it's a very short URL, but if it was a super long one, it would be listed there. And then go ahead and click on it to open it up, which brings up a good point. If you get an email where it's got an URL and you hover over it and there's a different URL, well, you can check because maybe you're getting spam and it's not what you think, that when you click on it, you get redirected. You get taken to some other website. So it's a good check. In any case, let me go ahead and send this off to Carrie, have her reply. Let's go to our inbox and then click on Send Receive. Double click and I can just come down here. I get the finger automatically, don't have to hold down the control key, and I can go right to my website and buy tons of videos. Now, if you come up here and click on reply or forward, like I click on reply, I'm in edit mode now, so if I come down below, now I have to go ahead and hold down the control key to click on it in order to test it. Outlook has a database of equations and symbols you can insert into the body of your message. Just make sure that your cursor is flashing in the body. Then come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the Symbols group, and there you go, symbol. Click on it. You got some default symbols here that you can choose, like a heart. And of course, if you have a big heart, you want to go ahead and select it, treat it just like regular text, and in the mini formatting toolbar, you can increase the size and change the color. Let's do red. Oh, that's nice. And then if you want something more than what you see here when you click on the drop down, then go down to More Symbols, and you've got the font symbol. You can scroll through that font to find out if there's anything you could use there. If not, you can click on the drop down arrow, choose another type of font, or to get more graphical, just click and drag this down below to the W's. And you got Webdings. I usually use Wingdings. And you got Wingdings 2 and 3. In any case, you can go ahead and sort through here to find what you're looking for. And recently used, I'm just going to do that. Go ahead and select it, click on Insert, close out, and of course it's the same size of what I recently had selected here. Let me click on the Message tab, 48. Click and drag, that's also 48. And you can change the size of it, come up here, you can do something smaller, even change the color. So I have a heart, check. Let's go ahead and hit Insert. Now for equations, come back up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the Symbols group, and you can click on the drop-down arrow if you had one saved, but since we're just starting, we'll click on Insert a new one, or let me click off, you can just click on Equation, automatically inserts a field. That's the same size of what we set up above, size 48, but for the equation now. And you get its related contextual design tab to design your equation, so you can go ahead and type in the symbols or click on these symbols here. I mean, when I say type, you can hit the equals key on the keyboard, you can type it in here. Let me go ahead and do something simple like a fraction, do a stacked one, insert it, hit the space bar, and I can type in minus, or I can come up here and find a minus. There we go, space bar, stack fraction, and then space bar, type in equals. I think you know where I'm going with this. In any case, I'm going to keep it simple so I can look really super smart, because you know when you have 1 half minus 1/4, wait, don't tell me, it's going to be 1 denominator, numerator, 4th. Cool, I did it. In any case, you can go ahead and click and drag and select that as well. Come up here, click on the Message tab if it's too huge, or if it's too small, just go ahead and find a nice size. And then you can click outside of it, hit enter a couple of times, then type in some more text or finish your message, well, text. And then if you want to go back to it, click inside of it, you get that holding field. That you can click on the drop down arrow, and I'm not going to cover this in its entirety, but I will get you the basics. I go over it in greater detail in my Microsoft Word training video, so this is just enough to get you started on it. But you can go ahead and save the equation. The default's professional. You can change it to linear, so it goes linear format and not professional or stacked as it were. And then change to inline justifications, so if you want to do left, goes over to the left. You see this line here that breaks up the email that I sent to Carrie and her reply? You can also do that in new email messages if, like for example, let me go ahead and double click in a blank area. Let's say down below in the body of the message I typed in a bunch of stuff and I got an entirely different thought or subject from this point down. You can go ahead and have it separated by paragraphs or a few extra hard returns, or better yet, you can come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the Symbols group, and do a horizontal line. You can see in the pop-up it adds a horizontal line across the entire page, or if we had a table, a cell or column. So go ahead and click on it, and there you go. So I can type in whatever I want up here and whatever I want down below here. If I want to break it up and make it look more definitive, that breakup by inserting a horizontal line. Now, if you want to break up information to organize and arrange into cells as a way for the reader to visually grasp its contents quickly, we can insert what's called a table that will do that. And to do that, well, I'm in the body of the message. Come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the Tables group, click on the Tables drop-down arrow, and you can choose how many rows, how many columns you'd like. And then when you have it set, like I have here, I've highlighted 3 columns and 3 rows. Click in the last cell of each one, and it automatically inserts it. And then you can go ahead and type in, like the product is going to be gummy bears. The number we have of that product, maybe 25 packages. Then the cost per package is $3. And keep it simple. And then if we have additional products, go ahead and hit the tab key, type in more. And when you get to the end, you can hit the tab key to add an additional row. And then when it comes to deleting rows and columns, I'm going to keep it very basic here. And I go over it in greater detail in my Microsoft Word training video on tables. So to give you the basics here, you can right-click in a cell and you get a whole lot of options down below in the mini formatting toolbar to insert either above or below the row. You get an extra row. And to delete cells, columns, rows, well, let's just delete the row that we inserted, including the entire table, but let's just delete the row. And then you can click and drag and select an entire row. And you have the related contextual design tab, but I want to go to the layout tab because on the layout tab you can merge the cells all together right there. So maybe that would be the title of the table, but usually that would be above, up at the top. But you may have yours down at the bottom. And what I'm doing here is I'm holding down the Alt and the Shift key and the up arrow key to be able to move that row down to the bottom all the way to the top. Pretty fancy, huh? That only works for rows, not for columns. In any case, I got a lot of tips, tricks, and shortcuts that I could show you. But I wanted to give you the basics because I don't want to recreate the same video for the body of the message here that acts just like Microsoft Word. Well, acts like it is actually a part of Microsoft Word, the commands and features that you can use, and have to have the same video listed twice. So it's just enough to have the basics here, but if you do use this more intensely and you actually want to insert numbers, you can have it calculate in one of the cells. Again, I cover that in my Microsoft Word training video on tables. Charts are used to graphically represent data values and their relationships. So to insert a chart, well, make sure the cursor's down below in the body of the message. Then come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to Illustrations, and there's Chart. Click on it. Over here, you get all the different types of charts. You get pie. You can select it, hover over it, pops open, gives you a larger view. Or you can come up here and let's see, 3D pie, select it, hover over it, there you go. I'm going to keep it simple and do a column, clustered column, that one right there, the first one, out of all these others here. And then with it selected, I can go ahead and double click on it and it inserts it. Now, it doesn't know the data, so it gives me a little teeny tiny spreadsheet where I can type in the data. And the defaults are here, so for the series, which you can see down below in the legend, and then the categories over the left-hand side, all you have to do is go ahead and type over and replace the categories and the series, and of course the data here, to be able to get your data showing up in the chart here. Okay, let's do for our series, the legend that is, let's say this is camping equipment, so let's do tents, sleeping bags, and hammocks. And then for the category will be like, let's say this was sales for the month of April. And let's just go down to May, June, And we'll leave this out by hovering over the bottom right-hand corner, that little blue square, till I can see arrows pointing in opposite directions. Click and drag and push that up. It automatically eliminates category 4. There's for April, May, and June, and it's for tents, sleeping bags, and hammocks. If they actually represented the numbers, then great, we're good to go. But I don't think I sell 4.3 tents, like somebody tears a third of a tent off. So I'll have to update these numbers here and just get rid of the points. In any case, you get the point. Haha. I'll go ahead and type that in, and there we go. And then click off. Let's close out of here actually. And then if I need to make the changes to it, I can right click on it and go down to Edit Data and click. Opens it back up, make your changes, and then close out. And of course you can hover over the bottom right hand corner resizing handle until you can see arrows pointing in opposite directions. Click and drag to make it as big or as small as you want. And we'll do thus. And then you get the options over to the right hand side, layout options and chart elements. But what I wanted to do in this training video is give you the basics so you can create a chart where you can go ahead and insert the data and get you enough to get started. Well, the chart title, that's not going to look good if you have something generic. So let me give you more of the basic here. Say this is camping equipment. There you go. So for anything else, like I said about the extra details here, it's a couple of training videos when it comes to working with charts. You can watch it either in my Excel training videos on charts, which is very detailed, or watch it in Microsoft Word, since this is the word processing document here that acts just like Word. Actually, it is Word, just with the facelift up here that you can actually send the document that you have down below or the body of the message off to somebody. Quick parts are used to store selected text and/or graphics called building blocks for a quick insertion into an email. So for example, if I go ahead and let's do this real quick, insert illustrations, online pictures. Let's type in happy ghost, hit enter. Let's try to find somebody who's oh, that's spooky. Oh, there's my happy guy. Select him, click on insert, and of course he's huge. So we want to come up here on the related contextual format tab to the size group. Let's do maybe an inch. And then down below him, type in some text. We hunt only happy ghosts. Hit enter. Maybe we have a table, insert a table that has maybe the number of happy ghosts we caught thus far. For April, we caught 20. For May, we caught 30. In any case, if I want this in a lot of my emails, I can go ahead and click and drag to save all of that as a building block. So to go ahead and save that for future emails, you can come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the text group, there's Quick Parts, click on it, and there you go, Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. Click on Save, and then the name. Okay, we got an asterisk. You want Happy Ghost, and then that's going to be stored in the Quick Parts Gallery. The category, I'm going to leave it general. You can click on the drop-down arrow and create a new category. I'm not going to do that. And then the description, type it in. What I will say is this, is I cover the quick parts or building blocks in greater detail in Microsoft Word. Again, the body of the message being an element of Word that contains a lot of the commands and the same features. So if you want to go over it in greater detail, you can watch my Word training video on quick parts. Go ahead and click OK. So let's go ahead and close out. Don't want to save it. It's time for a new email. Double click to open it up. I'm like, hi. And I type in the body of my message, and then towards the end of the message, or at any point where I want to put in that happy ghost picture with the table and the text, I don't have to go back and do all that again by inserting it, finding it online, the happy ghost, and then typing in the text. Well, remember I saved it as a quick part. Come up here, click on the Insert tab, go over to the text group, Quick Parts, click on it. There he is. Oh, he's happy. And then you can go ahead and if you want, right click on him. If you need to make edits to the properties or you want to delete them, let's just go ahead and click on it so you can see, hey, he's right there. Wasn't that fast? Oh, isn't that great? And then, like I said, you can come up here, Quick Parts, right click on them, go to Organize and Delete, and I just have the one, so I can go ahead and delete them or edit the properties. That is, if I want to change the category, change the name, or even the gallery. Click Cancel and Close. Keep it simple here. Go ahead and watch my Word training video on quick parts for a more detailed training on quick parts. To be able to find a message quickly, like if you have a bunch of messages in your inbox, just come up here and click in the Instant Search field. You get the Related Contextual Search tab, and the scope of the search has been selected. It's the current mailbox, which not only includes the inbox, but also the Sent Items folder. So if I come over here and I type in the word free to see if there's any messages that has that in there, like free apples, no. Let's go ahead and double click, like for Carrie, apple picking. There it is, free. So it's doing its job. See, let's go ahead and close out. But notice in the From column, we've got, well, my email address, that's for me. So that's from the sent items that it found, the word free. And then, of course, from Carrie in the inbox. So when I double click to open this up, you can see it found from her original email message, free, that I responded. Well, how about the first Wednesday of October? Let's go ahead and close out. So if I don't want to include what I sent to her, just the items in the inbox, the messages, then come back up here, click on the Search tab, go to the scope, and change the scope of the search to the current folder. Now you can do it here, or you can come over here just to the right of the Instant Search box. You can see what you see here, current mailbox is what's selected over here. So if I come over here, click on the drop-down arrow and say current folder, updates it here, and it just searches in the current folder, which is the inbox. So I can just focus on that, not include the sent items. And then if you have subfolders, as we talked about in an earlier training video, that when you create additional folders, like if you did it for your inbox, you'd have a little triangle like this one that you can click to expand it, and the folder would be below that. In any case, you can go ahead and say, don't search just the inbox, but any subfolders below by selecting it. And then for all Outlook items, select it, and it'll search all the items that have the word free in it. So we've got one in the inbox, we knew that. We also have it scheduled on the calendar, as you can see over here, the in folder column, and then of course the two that we found initially in our current mailbox search in the sent items. The replies I sent off to Carrie that included her original message, which had the word free in it. Now the one place that it does not search by default, unless of course you have it checked, and I'll show you that in just a minute, is it doesn't look in the deleted items. Why? Well, when you throw something in the trash, do you go perusing through that on a regular basis? If you do, then don't throw things away. In any case, you can change that. So if you want to search the deleted items, then click in the deleted items folder and then do the search. Free. And there's nothing in there. But if you want to search all the other items, not just what's in the deleted items, but all the other folders, then you can come over here, click on the drop-down arrow, and say all Outlook items. So when you're searching in any of the folders besides the garbage can, it will not search in the garbage can. But if you search in the garbage can, you can extend the search outside of it and include everything within the trash can. So if you want to change that so you don't have to actually go into the garbage can and then be able to search from there all the items, but you want to click on any other folder besides the garbage can, the deleted items, that will include that. Then come with me, good neighbor, click on File. Let's go backstage to Options. Let's go to the Search category, and it's right there. You can check this box, include messages from deleted items folder in each data file when searching in all items. So if you want to include all that, you could have a huge garbage can of items, and that might be quite the search to include all that. But hey, your flavor. And then finally, if you want to go ahead and let's take a look at snowmobiling, you can right-click on the message and go down to Find Related. Messages in this conversation, remember, when you send off an email message, that person replies and you reply to their reply, it goes back and forth in the conversation. You want to find all of it in that conversation, select it, and then it puts in the coding here for finding everything within that conversation. So if you double-click, there's Carrie's original email message, and then close out. There's my reply, double click. Yes, we're available and excited to go. Of course, if she replied to that reply, then I replied to that reply, well, we'd see a lot more here. And then to go ahead and close out of the search, well, you can click on the X here when you want to clear it out, or you can come up here on the Search tab and go to the Close group and click on Close Search. That works. Let's go ahead and do that again. You can right-click and go down to Find Related Messages, not only in this conversation, but from the sender. So it's from Carrie. Click on that, and it codes it in here in the instant search, and it finds all the messages from that sender. And then we can go ahead and close out. Now to do multiple criteria searches than just the one by clicking in the instant search box and typing in one single keyword, You can click in it to bring up its related contextual search tab, go to the Options group, click on Search Tools, go down to Advanced Find, and there you go. Okay, first of all, where do you want to look in? You want to look in the messages, the contacts, journal entries. I'm going to keep it simple and just search the messages. And for the messages, I can look in the inbox, click Browse, or include additional folders that contain messages like the Sent Items. So I have both the inbox and the Sent Items checked. Click OK. And then search for the words. Let's do birthday. Now that could be in the subject field only, or it could be in the subject and the message body. I'll do that. And then who it's from, click on the button, select an email address or type in their email address and say it's got to be specifically from this person or include, more than one email address, so more than one person. Or who it was sent to, you can type in their email address. And then where I am, check the only person on the to line. Of course, you can click on the drop-down arrow, choose more, the time, none, or received, and then change the time if it's not any time. And then you get more choices, like the categories. If you have them categorized, you can click on that and choose a category if it's been assigned to it, that message that you're looking for. You can check only items that are, by checking the box, it now becomes functionable for us to say, okay, items that are unread or read. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. How about whose importance is not normal? It's high. In any case, go ahead and choose your choices there. Let's click on the Advanced tab. You can get even more crazy by clicking on the field drop-down arrow. Go to, in this example, all mail fields, like voting response was thus, or the tracking status, or who it was to, the subject, which we covered the subject, and so you can get more particular here. But I'm going to keep it simple. You can just go nuts on that. So let's go ahead and click on Find Now. And it found it. Remember, the criteria was birthday, either in the subject or the body of the message, and it had to have high importance, and it's right there. Exclamation point. Double click to open it up. Go, oh, that's nice. Okay, great, fabulous. Close out of it. You got what you were looking for. And then if you hover over it, you can delete it. Let me go ahead and maximize that, because when I maximize that to fill up the entire window, I can see the additional fields here, including what folder it's in, the sent items. So when I hover over it and I delete it, it goes from the sent items to the deleted items. Close out. Alrighty, come over here to deleted items. And there it is, exclamation point, high importance for the keyword birthday. The Query Builder is an advanced feature of finding messages, and by default it does not come installed in Outlook. So for example, you can come up here, click in the Instant Search field, and on its related contextual search tab in the Options group, click on the Search Tools drop-down arrow as we did in the previous training video for the Advanced Find. Click on it. If you had the Advanced Find, known as the Query Builder, it would be the fourth tab here. Now, why would you want to use the Query Builder? Well, for example, in the previous training video when I clicked on the Advanced tab to define more criteria, I clicked on the field drop-down arrow, went to all mail fields, and let's keep it simple. We want to do subject. There's the line item for subject. So the subject, there's the condition. It has to contain a value, or in this case, let me click on the title bar to move the window down. I know that there's an email that has the word Apple in the subject. So if I come down here and say, okay, I want to look for in the subject that contains the word Apple. When I go ahead and click Add to List, and I want to be able to say, or it could be pineapple, I don't get that condition here. So that's where the Query Builder comes in, because it gives me that option to say find Apple as well as, or in addition to, if it's available, pineapple. So let's go ahead and click Remove, close out, and then to install the Query Builder, well, let's come down here. I'm in Windows 7, click on the Start button, and in the Windows Instant Search field, I'm going to type in regedit, R-E-G-E-D-I-T, and there it is. Go ahead and click on it. And it's going to give you a warning saying, hey, if you come in here and you tinker around, you could destroy your computer. Well, make sure that you follow everything that I'm doing and you should be good. Well, there's my disclaimer. It worked for me, and make sure you don't get off the path, otherwise you'll turn to stone. Well, your computer will too. So go ahead and click yes. And then I'm going to scroll over to the left and scroll all the way to the top, because I bet if this is your first time in the registry editor, let me click to collapse it, that it looks nice and clean like that. Total of 5 folders. What you want to do is you want to click to expand the HKey current user folder, that little triangle, click on it to expand it. and then go down to software. Well, it'll be collapsed. Let me collapse it, and it's sorted alphabetically. So go to the software folder, expand it, and let me collapse Microsoft, and go down to M for Microsoft, expand that, and then scroll down to, okay, let me collapse Office. You see how it remembers where you've been. Go down to Office, expand that, and then the current version for 2016 is 16, so let me collapse it. So you'll expand 16, and let me collapse Outlook here. And let me scroll over. You want to find the Outlook folder, and then right-click on Outlook, and go down to New, and say that you want a new key. Click on it, and you'll see down below it adds a folder, new key number 1. We want to rename that, so go ahead and just start typing Query Builder and hit enter. Now, if for some reason you made a mistake in naming it, you can right-click on it and go to rename. It'll open up, and then you can go ahead and type it in as you see it here, if you can see it. Capital Q-U-E-R-Y, capital B-U-I-L-D-E-R, Query Builder. That's it. Go ahead and close out. Click in the instant search box. Again, on the search tab to the options group, click on the search tools, and we go to advanced find. Hey, there it is, Query Builder. It's now available for us. So go ahead and click on the tab, and we can click on the field, go to all mail fields, to subject, and there's the line item. Subject contains, we'll say, let me click in here, Apple. Add it to the list, and then if I want an additional condition for it to meet, like, okay, I don't have pineapple here, let's do hunting. Let me click and drag this up, and let's click on field, to all mail fields. Again, we want to do the subject. Subject contains, and we'll do hunting. And then when we add it to the list, it says by default it has to meet all these conditions to be true, all these clauses. And if you're like, no, it just has to be one or the other, if it finds the one, pull it up. If it finds the other, pull that up as well. So instead of meeting all conditions, it can meet any of them. And if any of them are true, well, it'll pull up the one that has Apple in it and the one that has hunting as well. So to go ahead and take it for a test drive, click on Find Now. Well, let me maximize this so we can see down below. There we go. Hey, apple picking, because that is true. Could be where it meets any of the clauses, as well as hunting meets the any clause condition. Fabulous. And then if you want it to be the other way, like, okay, let's switch it to and, where all clauses have to be true. Well, I'm not going to find any because I don't have Apple in the title, as well as hunting. So maybe if I select hunting and I say remove the item, okay, subject contains Apple. How about, okay, this is going to be very easy to pick out, picking, and then click add to list, and it has to meet all conditions, Apple and picking. Let's go ahead and click find now. There you go. It meets it because all clauses are true, Apple and picking. And then we can remove all and start over again. And then, of course, if you want to get rid of the Query Builder, the tab here, just go back and watch the part where we added the Query Builder folder, follow the same path, and then when you get to the folder, right-click on it and go down and click on Delete. Just a right-click on the folder to delete, and you're good. To filter email temporarily within the inbox that meets certain conditions, well, just come up here on the Home tab, go to the Find group. There you go, filter email. Click on it, and you can choose like just filter and show me those email messages that contain attachments. And you can see we got a total of 1, 2, 3 paper clips, 3 attachments. Go ahead and click on it, and we should see 1, 2, oh, look at that. Well, what's going on? As you recall in an earlier training video, because these videos build upon each other for the most part, on the Search tab in the Scope group, it's based upon the current mailbox, and the current mailbox includes both items in the inbox and in the Sent Items folder. So if you just want to focus on the inbox that we had selected here, the current folder, doesn't matter if you have it selected up here or down below, it's the same folder, just that these are my favorites. Go ahead and select current folder, and there you go, 1, 2, 3. Now again, it's temporary because, well, you can click Close Search, close out of it here, or just go to another folder. And then when you go back to the inbox, it refreshes. If you want to make it permanent, well, that is until you clear the filter. If you have a blank area down below in the main window, right-click on it, and you get the filter option. Click on it, opens up, filter, or let me close out. If you don't have a blank area, you can click on the View tab, go to the current view group, and click on View Settings. Well, you know, it's just easier to go ahead and right-click on the headers here, and go down to View Settings. And in any case, when you click View Settings here or View Settings there, when you right click, you're looking for Filter, and you can see it's off. Click on it, opens up, and what do you want to search for? I want to search for Apple because I know that is in the subject field. I could say include search for it also in the body of the message as well as the subject. And if you watch my previous training video on Advanced Find, it's basically the same. Instead of finding, you're filtering, which is a way to find things, except that you're hiding all those things that you don't want to see. I want to hide everything but those email messages that have Apple in the subject field only. And so go ahead and watch that training video on it because it's basically the same here. But as a very quick review, if you want to include in the filter that it has to have Apple in the subject, but also it's got to be sent from somebody, click on From, and go ahead and find somebody here, double click to add them to say, okay, it's got to not only have Apple in the subject, but it's got to be from Carrie. And if you want to type in their email addresses, type in a semicolon as the delimiter to go ahead and separate additional email addresses. In any case, we covered that in an earlier training video. These training videos build upon each other, so you want to make sure you watch all of them. Otherwise, I'm repeating myself a lot. In any case, we have the Sent To field. We have more choices, as we talked about in the Advanced Find, like the importance, if it's from Carrie, where if it has Apple in the subject, but also it's for the importance high, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. You can choose those additional options here. We have the Advanced Find tab that we talked about in the advanced training video, so you can watch that. We have the Query Builder that I haven't removed yet. And if you want to learn more about the Query Builder, again, I covered that in an earlier training video on Query Builder, which by default is not installed, as you recall in the training videos, so I show you how to install it. And then you have the SQL tab. In any case, let's go back to the messages, and we'll keep it simple. Apple, click OK, and then it says right here, Filter, Messages containing Apple. And it doesn't say for the subject only. You'd have to click on the filter to see that. Click OK, and hey, there we go. Now if I go to another folder like the Sent Items and I come back to the inbox, it's still filtered. If I close out of Outlook and I open it back up, double click, OK, it's still filtered. And if you're like, didn't I have a lot more email messages in my inbox here? And if you're panicking going, oh my gosh, they're permanently deleted. Well, the only other indicator, if you've forgotten that you filtered this view, is down below on the status bar where it says filter applied. So check below to make sure. And if you can't see it there, then you want to right click on the status bar and make sure that you have filter checked to let you know, because if it's unchecked, you're not going to see that a filter has been applied. And so what does it hurt to have it checked? Because if you don't have a filter applied, it's not going to show. So make sure that your status bar has, for me, everything checked except for the quota information. I'll leave that as is. And then with it displaying there, you can just go ahead and click on it and it opens up the window, so you don't have to right click to be able to get the filter. And then just say clear all, click OK, the filter applied disappears, and we get our 9 email messages back. Oh, and as a disclaimer, if you apply the filter, like I did here, Apple, and I got additional email messages that came in, they'd all be hidden, because if they don't have Apple in the subject, they're going to be filtered as well. So oopsie doodle, make sure that you know what you're doing, and it's very temporary, unless you're not going to be getting any email messages that you care about, as long as you have the filter being applied for, as in this case, Apple. The conditional formatting message feature allows you to set the formatting of email messages that meet certain conditions. So for example, if I want all the email messages that have investigation in the subject to be big, bold, and beautiful, so it stands out and I go, oh, we got an investigation. And then come up here, click on the View tab, go to the current view group, click on View Settings, and it's right there, Conditional Formatting. Click on that, and you can see you get default conditions that have been set up for you, like the one that we talked about in an earlier training video on expired email. When you set the options for an email message to expire by a certain date and time, that'll put a line through it. Well, that's on your end, so when it expires, it's got a rule here that when it sees that, it'll put a line through it. Of course, you don't have to have it. If you want to uncheck it, you just can't delete it. Can't do that for the defaults. I'll leave it checked. Let's go ahead and add our own, and the title of it is going to be for investigation. And then what kind of font? Keep it the same. Well, that's not going to stand out. Let's say font. Let's make it bold, bigger, and click on maroon. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and click OK. Now for the condition that it has to meet, click on condition. And we're searching for the words of investigation. And if you watch my past couple of training videos on filter and advanced find, it's basically the same window that we're looking at. Well, especially for filter here, because it is the same. And so if you watch those training videos, you'll get the details. And so I don't have redundant videos, so to speak, by repeating the same things. I'm just going to give you a brief overview, just in case you haven't watched those videos, but I recommend that you watch it. In any case, we're looking for the word investigation in the subject field only, or you could say in the subject field and message body. I'm not going to use frequently used text fields. Let me just do subject field only. You can say if it's from a certain person, type in their email address. If you have more than one email address, use semicolon as a delimiter to separate one email address from the next. Of course, if you have them in your global address list or your contacts folder, click on from, and then just double click to add them down below, either from or sent to. And there's the sent to, and add them down below there. Carrie Heffernan, but I'm not going to do that. And then you got more choices where it also has to meet this condition whose importance is high. I'm going to uncheck that. And then you have the advanced tab that we talked about, the advanced find in an earlier training video. Watch that when you want to define more criteria, so don't get redundant videos here. And then the query builder, also watch that if you want to learn more about it, including that it's not installed by default, so I show you how to install it. And the purpose of the query builder is to give you the option to meet one specific criteria or another, to have that or option, the logical. So it could be investigation or detective work or hunting or haunted, well, whatever keywords you want to use. It can meet any of those conditions with the logical or it has to meet all conditions if you change this to an and. In any case, go ahead and watch the training video on Query Builder. Let me go back to messages. The investigation, keeping it simple, click OK, click OK, click OK. Oh, wow. I had more than 2. I got 3. It got cut off here. There you go. When I hover over it, you can see it extends there in the pop-up. Investigation. Fabulous. Now, how in the world do I get this to clear out? Oops, did I just say that out loud? Oh, that's not professional. Okay, let's go ahead and come back up here, click on View Settings, go to Conditional Formatting, and you can see up here that is part of the default rules that you can uncheck it. That way when you click OK, it won't be applied. So if you still want to keep the rule, not have to recreate it, but just not use it temporarily, well, there you go. But, View Settings, Conditional Formatting, I'm totally done with it. Select it, delete it, click OK, click OK. The message rule feature allows you to create a rule that are applied to incoming or outgoing messages that will move those messages to a specified folder. So come up here on the Home tab to the Move group, and there's rules. You can see when I hover over it in the pop-up, you get a more detailed explanation. Create a rule based on the sender, recipients, or conversation topic of this message to always move mail to a different folder. Now when it says this message, what is it talking about? Well, it's the one that we have selected down below. So if you don't want to create a rule based upon that message, but maybe apple picking, it'll take elements like who it's from and the subject as part of the conditions that you can set for the rule that will then perform a specified action. I'm going to go ahead and select the first one here, New Clients. Come up here, click on the Rules drop-down arrow, and create a rule. Now when you create a rule, this is a very simplistic rule. You don't get many options, and I'll show you in just a minute how you can get a lot more than what you see here when it comes to conditions. The window here is divided into 2 sections. As I mentioned, you've got conditions, and then once it meets one or more of the conditions down below, it can do one or more of the following actions. So first of all, you can see it's from Carrie Heffernan. And why does it show Carrie Heffernan or her email address there? Because we're creating a rule based upon this message, which is from kheffernan@videotrainingpro.com. So if I check that, then any message that I get from her or her email address, I can have it do one or more of the following. But I could go ahead and have a second condition that says, okay, not only does it have to be from her, but if the subject contains new clients, then go ahead and do one or more of the following. Or, you can change this and type in something else, like investigation. In fact, maybe it doesn't have to be from Carrie. It could be from anybody that has in the subject investigation. And then sent to, well, when you check this, the other option is me only. So if the subject contains investigation and it was only sent to you, then go ahead and do one of the following. If it was sent to anybody else but you with the word investigation in the subject, then it won't meet those conditions, so it won't do whatever you select down below. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this. Keep it simple. Subject contains investigation. Do the following. You can display it in a new item alert window, a pop-up window, when it meets that condition. or play a selected sound. You got the default sound. You can click play to see what it sounds like, bing, bong. Or if you don't like the sound, you can click on browse and choose polka, grunge, whatever works for you. Let me close out, uncheck that, or you can move the item to a folder. Now I have a personal folder over here that I created. So if you don't want it to go to whatever folder it shows here, go ahead and click on select folder, and there's my default. And you could even move it to the garbage can because, hey, anytime I see investigation, especially haunted house investigation, maybe I could update that where it says haunted house investigation. I don't want to do it. Too spooky. Move it to the garbage can. Don't even want to see it. Well, in any case, let's go ahead and just move it to personal. And click OK, and then when I'm done, click OK, and it says the rule has been created. Now, do you want to run this rule on messages in your inbox? If you do, check it, click OK, and it takes any email message that has investigation in the subject and moves it to the personal folder. Let's check it out. Okay, investigation, it works. What's this one? Can't see. OK. When you hover over it, what I couldn't see because it was cut off now shows it right there, the rest of it, investigation, so checks out. Now, if you made a mistake, you're like, oh, didn't mean to move everything over here. You can, of course, go ahead and hold down the Shift key and select the top, and then just click and drag and move everything back to the inbox. And we're back to where we started. But if you're talking about how to edit the rule, well, sure. Let's come up here on the Home tab, go to the Move group, click on the Rules drop-down arrow, and we're going to manage the rule and alerts. Click on it, and there's the investigation rule. Now, before I go ahead and edit the rule, you get some options here where you can uncheck it, meaning that if you don't want this to be applied currently, and you click OK, any email messages that I get, nothing will happen. Because, again, the rule isn't checked. If I go ahead and check it, click OK, then it's on. Then that way, if you don't want to delete the rule, but you want to keep it there for maybe some future date, and you don't want to recreate it, that works. Or if you want to totally get rid of it, go ahead and delete the rule. But if you want to edit the rule, then before I go ahead and show you that, down below you can see the description. Apply this rule after the message arrives with investigation in the subject, move it to the personal folder, and stop processing more rules. So let's go ahead and double click on it to edit the rule. Now, it opens up the rules wizard, which you get tons more options when it comes to conditions than that little simple window that we looked at where we only had 3. So you can come in here and say, okay, well, with specific rules in the subject, what if I don't want it in the subject only, but in the subject and body? So when I check that, it's redundant to have it in the subject and body and also in the subject. So let me uncheck that. And then you can see down below with specific words. Well, what are those specific words? Once you check it, you have to come down here and define specific words by clicking on its link and opening up the window. And we wanted to say it was investigation and click add. And if you want to add another, like maybe where it says research, that could be investigation, click OK. And notice here it's an or, so it doesn't have to meet both conditions. It could be investigation in the subject or research. And then it'll move it to the personal folder. And so you can go ahead and see the other options here. There's quite a few to go through. I'm not going to go through each one, as most of them I believe are self-explanatory, like as far as sensitivity goes. You check it, come down here and set the sensitivity if it's normal or personal, private, confidential. I'm going to uncheck that. In any case, when you're done with this step, as step 1 in the wizard, it's going to ask us a bunch of questions based upon our answers. Well, so far, this is what we're getting. Click Next. Then what do you want to do with the message? Well, it'll stop processing more rules. If we have additional rules, you can uncheck that if you want additional rules to be applied to it. Move it to a specified folder. What's that specified folder? Well, down below it's personal, but you can go ahead and click on that and choose another folder to update it. And then go ahead and click Next. And then are there any exceptions? Maybe except if the subject contains other specific words. If it contains those, then make that an exception and don't move that to the personal folder. So set your exceptions, click Next, and then finish the rule up. You can go ahead and rename it, turn the rule on. When you click Finish, it'll be turned on. And then you get the option to run the rule now on the inbox. When you click Finish, it runs on the inbox, click OK, and it moves those emails that have investigation or research in the subject over to the personal folder, and there we go. Now you can create a rule that way, coming up here, clicking on Rules to create rule, and it opens up that little simple window. Then when you edit it, you get a ton more options. If you want to go ahead and bypass that, not have to do more clicking than necessary, because you actually want to get to more than what we see here, click Cancel. Instead, click on Rules and go right down to Manage Rules. When you click on it, you get the option to create a new rule here. When you click on that, the Rules wizard opens, And then you got some templates here like stay organized. You can move a message from someone to a folder. Pretty much what we were looking at in that simple little create rule window, except with a few differences here like flag messages from someone for follow-up. The other sections stay up to date like display email from someone in the new item alert window pop-up. Or how about if we just start from a blank rule from scratch? And you got two options. You can apply this rule to messages you receive or when you send messages out. Want to keep it simple because the concept's going to be basically the same, except the difference is messages you receive versus those that you send. So messages that I receive, and then let's go ahead and click next. Here we go. What conditions do you want to check? Well, with specific words in the subject or body, because maybe I get a bunch of email messages that are nasty emails, with 4-letter words. And so I don't want to see that at all. So what I could say is come down here, click on specific words, and type in those nasty words once, those 4-letter words. And I'm not going to do that because we don't need to see that. So I'll just type in nasty for the 4-letter word. So, and then, for something else, another nasty word, we'll call it potty mouth. In any case, it's a one-time thing. Type in the nasty words once, and then hopefully you'll never have to see them again, that you got all the nasty words that you don't want to see when somebody sends you an email message. Click OK. So if you don't want to see it, that brings up a good point. Once you've got the words specified in the subject and body, click next, and what do you want to do with it? Move it to a folder. Well, if I move it to a folder, I'll have to look inside it to see those nasty words so I can delete it. But if I check delete, it just moves it to the deleted items folder. And I don't want to take a look at those nasty words there, so what I could do is go ahead and permanently delete it. And then it warns me, it says, once this goes on, anytime somebody sends you those 4-letter words, okay, well, my words are euphemisms of those 4-letter words because I don't want to show you those. But anytime somebody sends nasty or potty, it's going to permanently delete it. So we'll just say no, we'll just say delete it for this example so you can see that it actually works. Because permanently delete, well, how am I going to show you that? The moment you hit send receive and you get that email, it hits Outlook, it's totally destroyed, it's deleted permanently. So let me show you what it looks like rather than having it permanently deleted but just going to the garbage can. But for me, potty words, oh, absolutely, permanently delete them. So you get the warning. Click next. Any exceptions? Not when it comes to potty words. Let's go ahead and click next. And then nasty or potty, run this rule now. No, I'll just go ahead and click finish, click OK. And then I'll go ahead and have Carrie send me an email with one of those nasty words in there. Show you what it looks like. And let me come up here, click on send receive. Well, you see there, I got one that's been unread in the deleted items folder. So if you rewind this video, you'll see that I didn't have one that was unread over here. So if I select it, there you go. Okay, well, it's not in the subject. I don't see potty or nasty. Double click. Let's see for potty. Oh, there we go. She had a potty word right there. So, hey, it worked. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.